Okay, good morning, everyone. I wanted to talk today about a challenge I'm sure many of you are experiencing, an opportunity and a challenge. It's an opportunity and a challenge, as is every great thing. Um, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but in the business that we're in of network marketing, people like to work with those that they know, like, and trust. Have you heard those three words put together a lot in your history and your time with Nikan? That we need to know, like, and trust those that we work with. That's a great thing to do when we're in face-to-face experiences, when we're at networking events, when we're out and about and we're participating with different people. Getting to know, like, and trust, or get to be known, to be liked, and to be trusted is an opportunity for us when we're face-to-face. But over the last couple of years, year and a half, and perhaps over the next year or so, as this thing just marches on, it's forcing more of us to go into an online environment where we can expand our network and to build our audience. How do we get others to know, like, and trust us in a digital space? I want to talk a little bit about that today and just share a few tips of how we can get others to know, like, and trust us in a digital world. Because we see the ability, don't we, to connect with others very conveniently. And I started off badly, by the way. I'll share some of my own mistakes along the way with this. When I set up my Facebook account that I wanted to dedicate to Nikan, I thought that if I could just go out there and find a lot of people that had maybe some similar interests and connect with them on Facebook and send out invitations. People are so quick to receive the friend request and accept it that would be great. And then I could build up, and from there, build my network. Well, it did very little. I think I actually chipped a few people off as well when they're like, who are you? Why are you reaching out to me? I thought maybe that's what people do. But a lot of people just said yes, and I became friends with them. And ironically, nothing ever happened. Surprise, surprise. Have any of you experienced that? You've got 1,000 friends on Facebook or 2,000 friends on Facebook. You post something, but they don't comment, they don't like, they don't share. There's no real engagement or real activity. So what's the point of all that? There isn't really much point, is there? It's not about numbers. It's about interactivity. It's not about the volume of people that you're connected with. It's about the engagement. And it's not just about engagement. It's about conversion from that into a meaningful relationship, where with that meaningful relationship can become and develop business interactions. That's what we want to have. So we want to measure the right things. It's not just simply measuring the number of people that we're connected with and the number of people that like our posts that makes us feel popular, because we can spend all our time on social media doing that stuff and yet get no sales as a result at the end of the month. No new customers, no new business partners. What's the point of all that? Okay, we need to measure engagement, meaningful engagement, and business conversions. Yeah, business conversions. So I want to talk about how we can do that. And on the basis of this, the foundation of this, I would say there is an underlying virtue that we need to practice, and that is patience. Because building rapport and relationships with others always takes time. Now, sometimes we can be at an event or a meeting in a live environment, and we can just click with people and resonate and go, and we can become friends very quickly. We can have those experiences. In a digital world, it's very rare to have that experience. So we need to recognize that we can have greater reach virtually, but in practice, to have that conversion to a warm relationship where we become friends, that's going to take a little bit more time. So what are some things that we can do? Now, I want to mention 3 different words. We talked about know, like, and trust. You know, in the conventional environment that we've talked about for many years. In the digital world, there are 3 different words that I would use that are similar, but have slightly different meanings. Transparency, likability, and credibility. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today, how we can build that in connecting with people online and building that rapport. So transparency, likability, and credibility. These are the three things we need to build online in order for these relationships to become warm so that we can build the rapport and the trust and so on. Okay, so the first point is we want to brand our bios. Whenever we have a space, most social media spaces have a place where we can have a brief explanation about who we are and what we're about. Twitter has maybe 160 characters for our bio. Yeah, LinkedIn, we've got a little bit more space. We could have a lot of space if we choose. Facebook, we've got spaces there as well. Instagram, we've got places there where we can explain a little bit about who we are. So we want to make sure that we brand those places, our bios, to give a meaningful introduction as to who we are and what we're about. Within all of this, it's really important that whilst we're direct and candid as to what sets us apart and what we're about, that we also infuse an element of humanity, make us human. I think that's really important. I'm not sure about you, but as sometimes I look at LinkedIn profiles and I get frustrated with some of the titles and profiles and bios that people give themselves. They make themselves out to be overwhelming gurus and megastars of what they can accomplish and achieve. And the over egging of their abilities makes me immediately not trust them. Yeah. So we've got to be real. We've got to be authentic. We've got to be honest in what we're saying there, because people do see through it all. If you're seeing profiles over and over again, I'm not sure how many of you connect with a lot of people in social media, but I do spend a bit of time in different platforms. Like I said, I use LinkedIn as my preferred platform of choice. But if you're getting people sending friend requests fairly quickly, or on a regular basis, you're going to see these bios all the time. And after a while, you just get a feel for it. That's real, that's authentic, that isn't. And then you get this murky middle of, I get a ton of these guys that are all saying the same thing. How do I differentiate? How do I know which is real and which is not? And that brings us on to the next point. Okay, so the next one is we need to engage in active discussions. Engage in active discussions. So when there are relevant subjects that are coming up, and it doesn't always have to be on health or wellness or nutrition or fitness or the 5 pillars of health or elements of that we talk about. It can be a range of different subjects. The world has a lot of trending topics right now that are current, that are very popular. Get involved in conversations and be transparent and get your opinion out there. Engage and participate, because on that basis, as you engage in active conversations, people start to know who you are and get a feel for your opinions and know if they like you and can connect with you, relate to you, understand you. And so just think of it in that same term. The best meetings are always the meetings that have lively discussion. Wouldn't you agree? If you're in the workplace, you've got you've got discussions and you're planning, your events, you've got your team together, you're going to plan your event for what's going to happen, coming up. Whenever we're in a team meeting and we're planning something, the best moments are always when there's lively discussion. If you sit there quiet and don't participate, you don't get known, you don't really have a contribution, and you don't make a difference. Yeah, so think of that in the virtual world as well. It's in those bits and bytes of networking where we can contribute and talk and engage that will really make a difference for us. So we want to make sure that we start to identify the people we want to connect with, be proactive there, reach out, make yourself original and unique. What's your secret sauce? What makes you different from others, so that you don't get lost in the myriad of other people that are just bombarding others with their profiles saying, connect with me. You stand out a little bit, brand yourself, make yourself look and sound a little different, and then engage actively in conversations, participate. And when you're with those people and you see them popping up and sharing something online, we like and comment and share and discuss and talk about their comments. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be conversation around what is immediately relevant to Nikan. What we're doing here is building relationships and expanding our contact list. Yeah. So we've got to think in bigger terms. I've seen a lot of people, and I'm sure, again, you have too, that have approached me on social media platforms because they see I'm in network marketing and they're in another network marketing company. So they go, oh, we got something in common. Come join my business. You'd love it here. But why do I want to leave here and go there? No, go away. Don't leave me alone. I'm not interested. They're like, oh, but you're in networking and you've got these skills and you'll do great over here. You completely miss the whole point of how to network. That's not what networking is about. Yeah. You think of categories of interest, and this might be something you might want to do in branching out. Think of a category of interest. So you might start with health or well-being, which is what Nikan is all about, the global wellness community. Maybe you start there at your core, and then you branch out, create a spidergram, yeah, and branch out and say, okay, what is a subcategory of health or well-being? And then what is another subcategory of that? And now all of a sudden you've got all these different categories of people that have specialist interests in these different areas that you can start to connect with and have conversations with. And it's not in conflict. You don't have a conflict of interest. You're not competing against each other. You've got complementary interests, complementary skills, and you've got a chance there to enjoy a meaningful conversation. So again, remember, start with the core, but then look for subcategories that you can connect with and reach out from there. So engage, like I said, brand our bios, engage in active conversation. The third point, which I wanted to talk about, was build social proof. This goes back to the first principle that I was talking about of building credibility, know, like, and trust. Transparency, likability, credibility. So we need to build our credibility. So we build our transparency with our branding of our bios. We build our likability by engaging in meaningful and popular conversations and sharing our opinions and our thoughts. And we build connections that way. Now, if they're going to want to connect with us professionally, what they're going to want to do is do that only if they consider us credible. So we now need to build our credibility and build that social proof that our opinion matters. Now, one example of that I've done, I've mentioned this a couple of times and people have seen me do this a little bit. And some people have misunderstood what my intent was behind this. But you'll see as I talk about this in the context of this, its relevance. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book. I promoted that book and it's done very well. As a consequence, I get asked to speak on podcasts and I get asked to speak at different conferences and events. I have an agent that takes care of all of that activity, so it doesn't dominate much of my time at all. But what it does is it gives me social proof. It gives me credibility so that when I'm talking to others and I've got all these testimonials from other people and other sources that what I say counts and matters, what does that mean? They listen more. Yeah. Now, does it mean that as I'm building social proof, that my interest and intent is going anywhere away from Nikan? Quite the contrary. All it's doing is it's reinforcing my commitment and my devotion to this cause. Yeah. So understand that that is something of paramount commitment from my end, that social proof is so important. And the benefit of that, this was my thinking with the book and all those other activities, is it's something that can be used by other people in the team, in the field at large, that this is someone that you partner with that can also validate you. Yeah. So my work, my actions in that arena also serve to validate and give social proof to each of you. So I have a meeting today, for example, with one of my teams in Mexico. And one of the ways that they've promoted me, that it's an ABC. They've got a lot of people that they've invited to come along to participate in this ABC, and I'm the guest presenter. And one of the ways that they've validated that and used that as an opportunity to invite others is the person that is presenting this, our teammate, our business partner, is a best-selling author. And as a consequence, that gives some social proof and validation to what we're doing. Do you see how that works? So we've got to have that likability, we've got to have that credibility, and we've got to have that transparency. So look for ways to utilize, if you're looking at your own activity and going, okay, I'm struggling maybe to find some testimonials of my own work, because that's a way that you can build social proof, or maybe some other activity online that validates what I'm doing, then look upline, crossline around the network in Nikan of others that you can partner with and go, okay, we've got this great testimonial that we can share. And I'm going to use that to validate and give social proof to what I'm doing. So as we get the tools from other people, utilize them. If you're asked to speak at one of the Nikan events and you're giving your testimonial, yeah, or you're a presenter or a host or a co-host or whatever, you utilize that as validation that you are someone that is sought after, recognized, and respected in a network, in a professional environment, as a voice of authority. Because when you do that, that gives other people proof that what you say matters. And we need that, don't we? We need that because we are bombarded all the time with everyone telling us, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. All the time. We live in a world, the original intent of the internet was everything was downloaded. It all went one way, right? From people that owned the websites. Yeah, content went in one direction. Now it goes in the other direction. We own the content. We have the voice. We make the change. Yeah, and if we don't like what's going on, we can speak up and change the laws, change the rules, change the direction, change the culture, right? That's huge. That's huge. But amongst all of that noise and all of that sound, we've got to have an ability to raise our head up and do the same in a way that others will listen to us. And like I said, brand our bios, engage in conversation, and get social proof that who you are is someone that matters. Because there's nothing harder to validate than your own voice if it's coming from your own voice. If I'm saying I'm important, that doesn't sound sincere. But if someone else says Ben's important, it sounds different, doesn't it? If Ruth's saying, look at all of these things that I've done, I've won all of these competitions and I've qualified for all these trips, so you can see that I'm successful here, people go, okay, no, that's really good. But when someone else says, you got to listen to Ruth, look at what she's doing. She wins all these competitions, she's on all these trips, look at when she speaks, she listen to the audience that she gets, listen to what she's saying, it matters. When someone else says that, what is the energy level of that experience? It changes, it shifts. The credibility is different. So whenever you get the chance to speak for someone else, to do someone else's ABC, to do something, to speak, Nikan is saying at the end of our last Seikokai, Ruben said, we've got September, October, November left. If you want to participate, let me know. Guys, let them know. Participate. Say, I'll share a testimonial, because you know what they do? They record it. And so afterwards, you just go back to them and say, can I please have the recording of my testimonial? Then you can share it with others and you can say, look, I was at this event that was hosted by this company. Of all the thousands of people that exist in that business across all of these different countries, they asked me to speak and say something. Have a listen. Tell me what you think. Yeah. And we can do that as a team. We can back someone up and validate that and share it. We've got to be able to do that. So it's really, really important that we utilize the chance for social proof, because that to me is one of the hardest things that gets us across the line from being known and liked to being known and liked, and now I'm engaging in business with you. Yeah, because it's one thing to like a person and to have chit chat and to engage in conversation. And so many times we get stuck there where we make the connections, we build the relationships, but we're not just getting to that, past that stage where we're now doing business, where we're shaking hands. And how do we do that? We get the credibility of who we are. And like I said, in many instances, video plays a big part, especially in this world of digital space. That happens when we are getting endorsements, testimonials from other people. Yeah. So build that in. Get testimonials. You know, so as I look at those that are on the call today, I see plenty of you that could reach out and say to someone else, hey, we've worked together for a little bit. Would you mind just doing a 60-second or a 30-second video testimonial of what it's like to work with me? That's it. Yeah, get half a dozen. Share them around on Facebook. Put them on your LinkedIn profile and say, so great to get recognized and appreciated by my teammates. We've been working together for 20 years. They said this, thank you so much. Get someone else to endorse you, because when we're endorsing ourselves, it just isn't the same. It just isn't the same. Yeah. So I hope this has been helpful today in talking about how we can expand our contact list, because it's one thing, like I said, it's one thing to have a great list. And I think we can add names pretty easy. We've talked about it in the past, where to go to find people to add to our list. But the key is building the relationship so it moves from cold market to warm market, because the warm market is where the decisions are made, not in the cold. And cold and warm market only happens, decisions only get made when they like you, know you, trust you, when they see transparency, likability, and credibility. Yeah, and that social proof plays a big part in that process too, that engagement and conversation, not just on things that are important to us, but things that are important to other people, that they can see our opinions on the things that matter most to them are also of value. So we want to get involved in those things as well. And I think that really helps. So I hope this has been of help. I would encourage you today to make the most of this. Maybe set a goal over the next 24 hours to reach out to some people in your team, cross-line, upline, wherever. Maybe invite them to do a 30-second testimonial of what it's like to get to work with you, so that you can share that and build some social proof. Yeah. Maybe look at some different places online where you can engage actively in conversation. Maybe for your invitation today, you might want to sit down and create that spidergram and start to map out the subcategories of different places where you might want to reach out and start connecting with others. Yeah, so that those conversations can start within the next few days. So find the categories, the subcategories. Perhaps that might be your starting point. Get the invitations going, start the conversations, start chatting to people on those important subjects, or get those testimonials from your teammates on video within the next 24 hours. But whatever you do in the next 24 hours, do one of those three things. And as we get going, I think that'll be a great place to expand and keep moving forwards. Thank you very much. And we will speak very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah.